Hi, Christina Blackfeather here again. I am doing a second recording for today. Decided to work on my animal totem series, which I have put away for too long. Just way too long. Uh, I will be also doing a craft video along with this. I just have to figure out what project yet. Maybe a dream catcher. I don't know. Maybe making spiders out of wire. Just at this point, I have no idea. But the reason why I'm tackling the spider totem today is because it actually is one of my totems. It's not my first, although maybe it was. I don't know. I had gotten exposed to this from such an early age. I thought for the longest time that horses were my main totem. And while I identify with a horse and they bring me to tears when I see them, and I miss horses immensely, I don't think that they're my main totem. Now, some of the ways that you can find your totems, first off, is not only the animals that you feel a real close affinity to, and that probably is your main totem. For me, I have the wolf, the spider, the skunk, the doe, female deer, and the horse. Not even cats so much for me. Even though I have cats and I'm very close to cats, they're not a totem of mine. And for the longest time I had to kind of differentiate with that, because it's very easy when you have animals around you to think that they are your animal totem, and they actually are not. Part of determining your totems, of course, is not only with your greatest affinity, but sometimes with your greatest fears as well. And the spider for me is that. My earliest memory of the spider was when I was 7 years old, 6 or 7, and I'm laying on the couch downstairs in the middle of the night. I don't know what time of the morning it was, but I'm laying on this soft chenille blanket, this white blanket with all the patterns in it, and I'm laying on the couch, sleeping there instead of sleeping in my bed. Why, I don't know. Middle of the night, I wake up, and there is a spider sitting on my mouth. Now, that was the first major freak out that I had regarding spiders. And now I lived in a house with a lot of practices for mysticism and stuff like that, but when you're that little, that's gonna scare you. Yep. Keep in mind also being on a horse farm, and we got a couple horse barns and stuff like that. So there'd be spiders all over. These big, nasty, ugly looking, that. Yeah. Mind you, thankfully not that big. But yeah, you'd be going into corners of buildings. You'd be looking at... Oh, did I mention there's a trigger warning if you're terrified of spiders? This is the one for you. Keep in mind, I am terrified of spiders. So if this is triggering you too bad, you might want to take a look at yourself just a little bit and work on dealing with spiders. Yeah, and of course the things, they do bite. I don't know why they have a black widow under here as a barn spider, but it's not. So anyway, is with these horse barns, one of my mom's favorite things. And my mom grew up in Germany with very terrible things happening when she was young. So this is a woman who has no fear. There we go. Yeah, those are the spiders right there. Those things get like, well, I'm going to get in the range of the camera, they get like, the bodies are like that big around. Yeah, if they're in a very nice, healthy environment, they're huge. Which, yes, in the horse barns, yeah. So every fall is my mother with these two broom handles duct taped together. A broom on one of them, the other one is just the stick, and she's duct taped it really good so it can reach up into the rafters of the barn. And every single fall, come September and October, is spider sweeping time. Yeah! Of which she insisted I participate, and here I am already afraid of spiders. So at that point, the spider fear becomes a major phobia. And especially when I'm seeing as she's sweeping these rafters and going up and down with this, and they're landing on her head, they're splatting on the concrete we've got poured for trim and hooves on the horses. They're bouncing off of her shoulders. They're bouncing off the horse feed barrels. They're bouncing off of everything. They're landing in the hay, stack of hay and crawling all over. And she's expecting me to come in and put my boots on and smash them things. No. And, of course, I'd be called a baby over it, and I'd be standing outside the barn door bawling my eyes out. Well, at this point, I hadn't figured out that this was one of my totems yet. I was trying to avoid this thing like the plague, I'll tell you. Especially when the fear turned into a phobia for me. And I am learning to adjust to this. I can handle seeing a spider crawl across the floor now. However, when they're going across the charting in a patient's home when I'm trying to write down if the patient had a bowel movement or something, or what medication I gave them, and there goes a spider running across the paper I'm writing on, it takes a lot for me not to scream. That said, at some point, I feel the need that I'm going to have to, in order to deal with this further, I'm going to have to hold a tarantula at some point. And if I do get to that point, I will be sure to videotape it and put it up on YouTube, because, yeah. How I figured out that they were kind of my totem is that I did keep dreaming about them. And the dreams I remember are from when I had moved out on my own. These were not influenced by the direct circumstances I was living in or anything like that. Now, my phobia was pretty bad. I would go and have to clean like an old cabin that hadn't been had anybody living in it for years, and there's spiders everywhere, things like this. But it still wasn't anything that really got to me. What it was is when I would have certain dreams to warn me that something was going to come up, that something was going to happen in my life, or happen to somebody that I know. Oftentimes there would be a spider in that dream. And sometimes they'd be coming, if it was something that was going to happen directly to me that was going to be adverse, they would come and try to attack me. In other times in the dream, they're either just sitting on my hand, or, you know, just walking past me or something like that. And it didn't, usually they're pretty big in the dream, you know. Now, I do lucid dreaming quite a bit. So I'm able to, inside the dreams, control my reactions. And you don't get the debilitating fear when you're having a dream that is a nightmare. You still will have that debilitating fear. Especially if it involves your phobia animal. If you are having one where you're communicating with your totem animal, it's a completely different experience. And especially if it's an animal you're afraid of, it will not cripple you with that fear. It's going to feel benign, if anything. And it's not going to terrify you to actually have that particular animal sitting on you like it would if this were real life. And you don't wake up as creeped out either. You know how when you wake up from a nightmare, you're still feeling the nightmare. You've got the adrenaline pumping, you've got everything else going on. When it's your totem animal, this is not the case. Now, mind you, if this is your spirit guide, it will be speaking to you. Because I've had that happen. I know 2 of my spirit guides. The spider is not a spirit guide for me. My 2 are one particular cat in her physical form and the silverback gorilla. They're not in my list of totems because they are separate. They are actual guides for you. They are not something that represents your own personality, facets of your personality, specific traits, things like that. So that's how you differentiate on that. When I did finally figure out that they were one of my totems, and I'm talking to one of the Ojibwe tribal elders, he laughed. He laughed hysterically. Because here is a witch afraid of her animal totem. And part of that fear is the fear of the unknown and fear of the darkness within oneself. A spider is a predator. They are a sneaking predator in some respects. They are a symbol of darkness. They are not considered, in most general societies, they're not considered something revered and beautiful. These are things that hide in the corners. These are our shadow selves. So your totems are not always going to be love and light and happy predator type things and all of this. If you don't find something terrifying and something that frightens you inside your own list of animal totems, then your list is not complete. So, what we can find, now this is just one website that I found on your spider spirit animal, and I have books on spirit animals, but they're packed away someplace. My really good one, I don't know where it is. I'm not happy about it because I tried to find it. But what we have, one site that I found is spiritanimal.info, and they go into spirit animals and animal totems. The spider, of course, is the skill of the weaver and the intricacies of their webs and patience. What they're saying here is you have the qualities of high receptivity and creativity. And you are able to weave every step of your destiny. Not so sure about that. I'm sorry, life throws you curveballs, just like life's going to throw a curveball and have, in a bad windstorm, destroy the spider's web. They got to build it over again. That said, you have things that tear apart your life. If your totem animal is a spider, that means you do have the ability to rebuild from whatever takes down your web or your home, because the web is the spider's home. That home also might be what is inside of yourself, is trauma, whether it's being raped or losing a child or whatever. You're able to be resilient and rebuild from that point. Now, that's not saying that not everybody can do this, but people with a spider totem are able to be more aware of that ability to do just that. And of course, patience, because they do have to be patient. Something has to be able to come near the web, or in the case of the trapdoor, near enough for the spider to be able to get their prey. So yeah, there is a measure of waiting things out. Um, things don't come to those who want it rushed. Nina. Although it is time for me to feed the cat pretty soon, so I better hurry up with this. Receptivity, I guess because you have to wait for something to land in the web, I guess that would be waiting for opportunities. I don't know, I just don't find that one very strong. Feminine energy, that is more of a historic spiritual aspect. Your feminine energy, of course, a lot of goddesses are attributed with the spider here. And that's where the feminine idea comes from. There are male spiders. Creativity, yes. Generally, if you look at the legend of Arachne, she was a weaver. She had been cursed to become the spider, but she wove these glorious tapestries, which not only is a skill, but you have to be able to have a measure of creative force behind doing something like that. Weaver of life's fate. Well, legend-wise, yes, when it comes to gods and goddesses represented by the spider, I akin this one to same thing about free will. We make our own decisions anyway. While some of us get into situations where the decisions are completely taken away from us and we don't have any control anymore, you make your own way. And I guess that's what this one is. And again, as I had said myself, the shadow self and the dark aspects of life or of your own personality. And the shadow self is the the part of us that we don't like to look at. Like I will hear Christians say that they have to deal with the sin of anger and all of this stuff, and it's like, no, we're natural people. We have these emotions. The shadow self would be what the Christian is afraid of in themselves and that they try to fight and get rid of. They say it's a demon spirit, whether it's sexuality or anger or whatever it is. They try to blame it on a demon instead of realizing that this is part of themselves, and that is your shadow self. So, ways to work with your spider totem. Some people, of course, get tattoos, which is a good way to do it. You've got to be comfortable with the fact that you are going to have this on you permanently. Dream catchers, of course, are another way to deal with your spider totem, because a dream catcher is a web. And, you know, some people have nail art, which is really cool. That's neat. Decorating with spiders, that's not for the faint of heart. Halloween's a great time to get spider things, like at Michael's and stuff like that. Other people, of course, decorate themselves up with spiders, especially around Halloween. That's not a spider, of course, but that one is. Doing certain ink art that ends up looking like spider webs is pretty cool. Again, my favorite actually is the dream catcher. And you don't have to be Native American. It is an art that the tribal elders don't want lost. And so people saying, and surprisingly enough, most people who say it are white, who complain about anyone who is white that's selling dream catchers. Now, of course, if you really want to be fair, I guess you could go to a powwow or something like that and get dream catchers from actual native people. But we all at some point were tribal. And this is the way some of the elders that I have talked to, including the one who had confirmed my name as Christina Blackfeather, we were all tribal, and at that point the tribal art is something for everybody. And at that point, yeah, that goes for even dreadlocks and things like that. That is cool. Oh, I like that. That would be very easy to make too. Doesn't, oh, it just showed directions. Okay, I'm going to put a link to this one in the crotch bar below, because this is a good project. And this is a good project. I think this is a nice one to live with your spider totem. And if you had to put a little plastic spider in here, because this is a fall dream catcher, that would be perfect. There you go. There's a project. And you know, maybe I will try this one and then actually do a demo video of this, because this is really cool. So yeah, there's some of your projects for actually, you know, getting close to your spirit animal. Another way of doing it, as I said, I will demonstrate that dream catcher in particular. But yeah, the other thing is to, you know, have spider jewelry, to wear that. I happen to like to wear spider jewelry even though I'm not comfortable with spiders. But there's also books on making beaded spiders. And you can do them out of beads and wire. And you can see there's lots of really nice designs regarding that. And that's a way to do it. And so yeah, the crafts can be quite simple, but they're close enough to get you to be able to commune with that totem animal that is yours. So that's it on the spider today. I'm sorry that this was such a long one, but there were things that needed to be said in here. Time for me to go feed the cat. Hopefully you found this video useful, and next time I'm either going to cover the dragon or the horse. So blessed be everybody. Take care.